I've been trying my best to manage my depression and anxiety since I was 13. I'm not entirely sure how it really started, but I feel like it had already slowly started when I was 12. During that time, I was going through puberty like everyone else, and I didn't feel comfortable with the changes I was experiencing. I started feeling self-conscious with the way I looked, and would try to hide myself behind sweaters and hoodies. When I entered middle school, I still had that self-conscious mentality. I was always the shy and quiet type growing up, so it was a miracle whenever someone chose me to be their friend. At least that's what I thought. During 7th grade, I wasn't what you'd call a danger to myself. It was actually an okay year after I made a few friends and got used to all of my classes. Now, 8th grade was when it all just hit me. I didn't have any classes with my closest friend Ray, so I felt alone since she was the main person I talked to. I remember getting looked at by some people when I had to talk in class, and noticed them laughing or looking at me like I was below them. I never went through physical bullying, but there was some verbal. I always felt like an outsider whenever I was around people, and I know that's part of the reason why I started to hate myself. I started to cry a lot, I hurt myself, I thought about suicide and attempted it. My grades went from A's to B's to D's and F's. It was a miracle I passed and made it to high school. High school had its ups and downs. I went to a small one where my class was the first to the newly opened upper level school, so it wasn't so intimidating. But anxiety of not knowing anyone and being afraid to be around new people got the best of me, and I faked sick for almost a week to keep from going. Faking sick was always my escape when I felt anxious. I also faked sick in 8th grade for a week until my parents forced me to go, just like they did when I was in 9th grade. I made my few friends when I returned, and looking back, 9th grade was a pretty good year. Of course, when there's good, there was bad just waiting to knock on my door. I sunk back down into my depression in 10th grade, and I constantly felt like dying and giving up. It was a constant battle through the rest of high school, and even when I started college. The thing is, I consider myself my own worst enemy, where I abuse myself more than anyone else has. I've starved myself on purpose whenever I felt overweight, or that I didn't deserve to eat because I was worthless. I felt excluded from things because of my socially awkward behavior. I've gotten used to the bad habit of comparing myself to others and criticizing everything I do and how I look. I hate pictures and mirrors because just looking at myself automatically turns on the self-judgment within me. There are times I have wondered and still do wonder why I'm here in the first place. I haven't gotten professional help because the part of me feels like I can manage on my own. My parents didn't find out about this battle until just recently. It sucks when I fall down and feel so low where writing doesn't even console me. I tried to kill myself freshman year of college, but a friend of mine reached out to me via phone before I could even attempt to do it. Since then, I haven't attempted suicide, but I have thought about it. I remember when I was 16, I told my doctor I was depressed and suicidal, but out of fear, I lied to her weeks later saying I was fine and it was just a phase. I regret it a little since I could have probably gotten some help, but I was scared of my mom finding out and thinking I was crazy. It's hard sometimes to explain how I feel to people who can't really understand. Anxiety and depression have slowly been eating at me, taunting me and trying to make me fall and stay down. There are days I can't find the strength to get out of bed, where I have no motivation to do anything, where all I want to do is lie down and cry my heart out. Those are the days that consume me and make me isolate myself when I shouldn't. I feel like a bother if I reach out to someone, so most of the time I keep it inside and fake a smile. I overthink and listen to the negative thoughts more than the positives. Not because I want to, but because I've trained myself to believe them more. It does get tiring when I have to constantly make sure I'm not dwelling in the bad feelings. It drains me to the point I don't want to do anything or say anything. I fear being left alone by my family and friends, so I sometimes don't talk to anyone outside my household for weeks and even months if they don't contact me. I'm afraid of being alone, and yet anxiety tells me to leave people before they leave me. It's frustrating. I have a habit of thinking too much about the past and the future. I miss old friendships and sometimes blame myself for not being good enough. Back then, a few things were better. It seemed like I wasn't as alone as I feel now. If I could describe how I see myself, the words I would use would be ugly, stupid, useless, worthless, awkward, annoying, weird, not good enough, etc. These words have been stuck with me for many years. They are the words I use the most when I think about who and what I am. That mindset has kept me from sleeping some nights, from fully functioning some days, and even make me want to burst out in tears in public. I know I have to get better and fight. I tell myself I don't deserve happiness, but deep down I know I don't truly feel that way. It's the depression talking. I wish I could see myself through others' eyes and see the person they see. I want to make it through the dark days and celebrate the days where I feel fine and accomplished. First, I need to evaluate myself, and I mean really evaluate myself. Stop comparing myself to others, stop thinking low of myself and the things I do, stop thinking the worst about myself, stop putting myself down, stop doing everything I've done up until this point. It's easier said than done, definitely, but where there's a will, there's a way, right? If there comes a day where I really can't manage it on my own anymore, I'll seek professional help. What matters is not giving up and not allowing depression and anxiety to overpower me and take over my life.